Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Nick Boddington, and Matt is with us again. He's been on annual leave for 2 weeks, and it seems like forever. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. It's good to be back.
Good.
Thanks for
Right, let's
having me
go.
on your podcast.
Sorry,
Thanks for having me on the podcast.
again. It's all right. It's your spot. We've been having to listen to James for a while.
It's been well looked after by James. He's been keeping
Yeah.
the seat warm for me.
I know. Well, episode 24. This week, we'll be discussing Facebook retargeting hacks so you can get more bang for your buck. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
I am very well, Nick. How are you?
All right. So you've been away for 2 weeks. Seems like so much. Well, actually, you've already been back for a while, but it seems like so much longer. We had the pleasure of James for 2 weeks, which was which was great.
I've been knee deep funnel building, so I've kind of been back but off the radar at the same time.
Exactly, building our own funnels at the moment, which is awesome and really, really exciting.
Exciting stuff. Yeah, I'm excited to share more about that as we go.
Yeah, we've also opened the group, and this podcast is actually coming from the question in the group that we answered this morning, actually. But we thought it's a fantastic question. It's something that we use ourselves and test things out. The question is basically about if you're using purchase conversions at the top of funnel, would you use reach to retarget those audiences? Because if the stuff that's coming through the top is good, i.e. it's purchase of people likely to purchase, then if you're retargeting to an audience, most people, and a lot of the time, you use purchase conversions again for the retargeting. But his question was, could you not just use reach because it's one of the cheapest ways to do it, and you're going to the audience? And absolutely right. And we said that. So great question. So we've labeled this podcast Retargeting Hacks because I thought, let's discuss this. And as we're going along, loads of other things is probably going to come out, and it's going to turn into a decent long podcast. So absolutely. So shall I just start off with where I've used this before, Matt?
Yeah, definitely. Go for it.
So it is complete logic, isn't it? So we do always, so a lot of people use traffic and things like that at the top of funnel. With our clients, we actually like to get as much as we can coming in from the top of funnel. So if we think we can get conversions at the top of funnel because the budgets are high enough, or it's e-commerce, or it's lead generation, then why not do that? I know that when you even speak to Facebook and they sort of give you guidance on all this, it's talking about, build awareness and reach at the top of funnel and then retarget the middle of the funnel. I get all that, but we're very, very ROI related, aren't we, with all our clients? So by just adding other things to the funnel, if we find that we're not getting purchases or leads coming through, it starts the account cost goes up and the ROI goes down a bit. So we try and do as many things as we can to get every single stage of the funnel returning a good ROI. So if you're bringing in purchase conversions at the top or leads, using a purchase objective, if you're building audiences based on people who viewed, people who clicked on a particular URL, people who went to the landing page, people who added to cart, people who initiated checkout, all coming at the top of funnel, then logic would say that if you've got 1,000, 10,000, 5,000, however many people in those audiences that you've built, the custom audiences based on that really good traffic coming in, then let's say it's 1,000 and Joe Blogs is in those 1,000, whether you're setting the next stage up for purchase conversion or you're setting it up for a reach campaign, the ad is being shown to Joe Blogs, who's within those 1,000 in the audience.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah? Mm-hmm. So that's what I said back to the message on our group, and go to the group, let's run Facebook ads and join it request, because we've already started getting people asking questions, which is great. So I answered that question this morning saying, yeah, exactly the same. But I would test these two things, and we're always talking about testing, but I would say use a CBO campaign to test retargeting the ad using reach, and again, retargeting using purchase conversions, maybe, because you just don't know, because I've used it on accounts where I've thought, oh, this is no brainer, it's going to work. And it hasn't worked using reach. So you've got to test these things, haven't you? Because one client's completely different to another, one product's completely different to another.
Yeah, and I completely agree. So I've used this quite a lot because, yeah, just to like echo what you said, you've paid that premium, or your cost is higher at top of funnel because it's cold and you're paying for that purchaser person. So like, why would you then need to go in at middle of funnel or bottom of funnel again on that kind of like conversion event when you've already sort of like paid for that at the top? So, you know, a way of keeping your costs down is by using the reach objective, which I have used before in campaigns and I have seen success from it. But I would also advise testing reach and also traffic, because I've also seen really good success retargeting top of funnel audiences with a traffic campaign. Because if you kind of like think about it, reach is likely to be cheaper because you're going to reach more people for less, but the objective is to reach those people. It's not necessarily to then get them to click and go over to do the thing that you like ultimately want them to do. Whereas traffic, so that, but I'm saying that reach can still work. But if you find that that isn't really getting you the results, then you may want to just take that one step back or one step further and go traffic. But if you do that, and again, it just comes down to testing. You have to just test this in your own campaigns and for your own products, services, because this isn't just an e-com thing. This can be a lead thing as well.
Yeah.
Is that just make sure if you test traffic, is that within the ad set, you select landing page views and not clicks for the optimization.
Yeah.
Because you can sometimes see like 60-80% drop off between like somebody clicking on that ad and actually getting to the page. So obviously you want them to get to that page again to re-engage with the funnel and to do that thing that you want them to do. So yeah, just completely echo what you said, but split test it against traffic as well is what I would suggest.
Okay, because you can also, using the reach, you can also put in the frequency of how often they're going to see it using the impressions. So
Yeah.
you could say in a 7-day period, I want this person to see it 5 times, or 7 times. And I also said, split test that, but it comes down to cost. Also comes down to the audience size. I would say that if you've got high budgets and you've got a lot coming in and filling those audiences up really quickly, so we're talking tens of thousands, that's probably when you'd want to go back to the purchase conversion, even at the retargeting, because Facebook is going to figure out that Joe Bloggs is a purchaser and is within those 20,000 people in that audience. So you want Joe Bloggs being pulled out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I would say would you say that these hacks probably work better with smaller audience size?
Not what, as in the audience at the middle or at the top?
Middle. So audience. So let's say you're bringing in. Let's say if someone's working with a small budget, even at top of funnel, it's going to take a while for you to get into the high hundreds or thousands in the retargeting audience, isn't it? If you use purchase conversion at the top and you're only spending 10, 15 pounds a day. So in that respect, are you better off using the reach and traffic campaigns when the audience is smaller, because if Joe Bloggs is definitely going to see it, opposed to when the audience is bigger? Because if the audience had 20,000 people in it and you're retargeting it as only £10 a day, then it's going to be harder for Joe Bloggs to be pulled out as a purchaser, isn't it? Because there's so many people in it and Facebook has only got 10 quid a day to show that second retargeting ad to 20,000 people.
Yeah, I think you just have to use common sense and test and use the appropriate budget for the size of the audience. And the way that you can do that is by looking at your frequency. And that, because that is often the problem you fall into at middle of funnel is, like you say, the audience sizes, isn't it? And then you need to really keep a close eye on your frequency, because if that audience size is too small because you're not filling it up enough at the top, then your frequencies are going to be really high. And I think we can have a higher frequency at middle than we do at top. But you just need to keep an eye on it, and also then like the quality ranking and things like that. Because if people are seeing it too much and they're kind of flagging that with Facebook, that's going to affect the results that you get.
Yeah. So this is where it's just looking into the data and just understanding the data well, to start seeing these sort of signs, or guessing before the sign comes when it's too late.
Definitely. And I think as well, like a lot of the time, I think people new to ads think that, like retargeting is really, really powerful. And often that is where you do see like really good returns, because it's the lower hanging fruit and, people have already engaged with you. They're warmer, they're more ready to buy. But I wouldn't be hugely disheartened if your retargeting campaigns don't work, because I think, again, it comes down to like the buying cycle, or the lifetime. What's the best way of describing it? Like how long you would expect somebody to convert. And like if you're doing something that's quite low ticket and it doesn't really need a lot of nurturing, then actually you might be better off just not worrying about retargeting and put that budget at the top of funnel and just get more people that way. Like, do you see what I mean? Have you ever had retargeting that hasn't really worked for you?
For me, well, it depends on the KPIs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if you think, so you could set up a number of little middle of funnel retargeting things where you might even just have £1 a day or £2 a day. So let's say it's engagement. Let's say they're quite active with Instagram or Facebook on the social, a bit like your 7-day stack, which we can go on to and remind people of that because it works so well, you could say, okay, well, there's a little audience here. It's building up quite nicely. I want to show them a retargeting ad based on a particular scooter or something they're selling or something like that. And it's just more nurturing touch points, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, it's like a sales cycle. If back in the day when we were doing a lot of telesales, everything was a touch point. So like if my sales guys were ringing a company and not leaving a voicemail message, it'd be like, well, no, leave a voicemail message, because I know he's not there, or he or she aren't there, but they're going to listen to that voicemail. So it's one more touch point. And I think the same thing needs to be looked at with this as well, is that especially if it's higher ticket, if they're coming in the middle of the funnel, they've shown their interest, oh, I really like that scooter, it's the 329 quid. But you've got 5 different campaigns at middle of funnel for low amounts. It might be a tenner between the 5, where you could be using reach or traffic just to show those people about the scooter, a little video of the scooter, a few testimonials of the scooter, blah, blah. These are different touch points that are going to make your bottom of funnel have a better chance of converting when you start showing the bottom of funnel ads, which are there for a purchase conversion. Do you not agree?
Yeah, completely.
It comes down to the client though as well, doesn't it? Is like, do they want to, because this is where we always have the thing with our clients. It's like a client just wants as much as they can from their ad campaigns. And really they're like, I'm going to give you 50 quid a day. I want 250 quid back. The minute you start saying, okay, out of that 50 quid, we're going to take 10, 15 pounds of it to a middle of funnel, you're not going to get any orders at this, but it's just a nurturing. They're always like, oh, really? Well, can't we just put the 15 pounds back into the other one and then just get orders? So it's having that understanding and a client that understands the funnel and the nurturing side of things, or not, because if you make it work and that middle of funnel 5 campaigns are working really well, and then they're getting more orders at the bottom, they'll let you carry on with it. If it fails, or that testing period just doesn't go the way you wanted it to, it's managing the client's expectations, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, they just want to make money.
Yeah. That just comes down to managing expectations and kind of like more, I guess, like long-term, bigger picture thinking and planning in terms of budgets and results.
Yeah.
And measuring that.
So because your 7-day stack thing that you have, that could work. So you do it from a purchase point of view. So when you're running your do you want to explain your 7-day stack, and then we can go into how we'll use that for retargeting?
Yeah. So the idea is that this is an ad set that you can hopefully, there's a few caveats, but hopefully build, switch on, and never ever need to touch it. And the reason for that is because you're using custom audiences, warm custom audiences. So that could be people that engage with you on Instagram, people that engage with you on Facebook, people that visit the website. But it's only looking at a 7-day period. And the idea with that is that constantly people are coming into it and then dropping out quite quickly if they're not, if they've not engaged with you in that 7-day period. So it's actually more like, I guess, like the kind of like hotter end of warm because it's such a fresh audience. But because that window is so small, it does mean that the ad never really like fatigued, or your frequency is never really high, because if you're bringing people in constantly at the top and then you've got that small window at the middle, it just, it's constantly being served to new people. So you get around the fatigue and things like that. And actually, since I've introduced this ad set for, it's got to be pretty much every client, it's very, very high up there in terms of the winning ad set for retargeting. And also I've left it on and I haven't touched it for months.
Do you put it in as a middle of funnel?
So this is where I think we're a little bit different. And I actually quite like, and again, this does depend on so many factors, like your type of client and the product and the service and budgets and all that kind of stuff. But if I'm working with really, really small budgets, I actually put sometimes my middle of funnel and my top in one campaign. So that means, to like the question that we've had around the reach, a lot of the time I'm not actually, I say a lot of the time, in this instance, I'm not actually using reach or traffic for retargeting, because obviously I'm putting the retargeting in the same top of funnel campaign, which is for purchases.
And you can only have one campaign objective in a campaign.
Exactly. But my ad set is then targeting my 7-day stack or whatever warm audience it is that I've decided. And the logic behind that is that I'm trusting Facebook to say, because you'll get those messages that crop up when you're building audiences on Facebook to say, if you're using CBO, right? You'll build the audience in one ad set and then it will say something like, this audience is like way bigger than another audience within this campaign, so therefore this is likely to get more of the budget. And obviously that happens with my strategy of putting the MOF with the BOF, with the TOF, because my MOF is always going to be so much smaller. But I'm saying, well, Facebook knows that. And actually, I don't want that to have a lot of budget, because I know it's a smaller audience. And then it means I don't need to then have to worry about what the frequency is, because Facebook's just putting in enough budget into that MOF that it needs to get the results.
Yeah. Okay. And is that working?
Yeah.
So you
still have to keep an eye on the frequency.
Could you not put in there like a minimum or a maximum, a minimum and a maximum spend on that particular ad set? Couldn't you? To say, so if you're spending £30 at top of funnel, you say, look, you have to spend £5.
Yeah, exactly. So if say my middle of funnel, my 7-day stack ad set frequency was really low, and I thought it maybe it could have, maybe I've got like lots of different creative in there, so I can like get that up a little bit more, then yeah, I could put a minimum spend on it, or I could put a maximum spend on it because my frequency is getting too high.
Yeah. So that's testing again then, isn't it? So if you're finding £5 a day is getting you a frequency that's too high, you might change that to a maximum of £2.50 a day.
Yeah. But I think for me, I don't do that because it's more about letting Facebook do its thing that we say a lot, that it knows better.
And you're saying it does know better. It's actually working with you on this, because there is a lot out there that people are always fighting against the algorithm still, aren't they? We trust the algorithm quite a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
I think audience testing is probably the only time that we sort of disagree with Facebook more often.
Yeah. But I do just want to say this isn't typically what I would this isn't like a blanket, this is what I do. This is more leaning towards people that have smaller budgets. So, but in an ideal world, you would have your top as a top of funnel campaign, a middle of funnel campaign, and a bottom of funnel campaign, all in separate campaigns. Because often, like, to the point of this podcast is because you are likely to have different objectives when you're like trying to do each bit of that funnel. Like for ecom, for example, you're going to have probably a dynamic product ad, so you can't put that in to the same campaign, right? But if you're using really, really small budgets and you want to test a bit of middle of funnel, then this could be like a starting point for that.
Why small budgets?
Because
budgets.
Huh?
You could do would you not do the 7-day stack at top of funnel with a large budget as well?
I probably wouldn't, no, because I would want to have more control then, because I'm spending a lot of money, so I would want more control. I'm literally talking about somebody that wants to like start dabbling in ads and they've only got maybe like 10, 15 quid a day.
Yeah.
You know,
they can do a top of funnel ad, which kind of includes a middle of funnel ad set.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to start set. And then if that starts like feeding out, you might then go, well, actually then, okay, I'm getting results now. What I'm going to do is then start testing like reach or traffic at the middle of funnel. And then you'd have to like break it out like that.
I mean, I was doing a top of funnel audience thing for someone yesterday. For 60 quid a day, I've done 6 audiences. So I'm giving them all I'm giving £10 a day. As we say, £5 usually minimum, £7.50. So I'm giving £10 each a day. One of them that I'm putting in at top of funnel is website visitors. Just to see. Literally, I was just literally building it last night and gone, I've got lookalikes, I've got some interest ones, I've got some narrowing audiences. And I thought, I'm just going to put in a website visitors, because I know that there's going to be people coming to the website without seeing the ad. And the ad is a video, just a roll. It's a really nice, just little GIF with some of the stuff on it. So I thought, yes, there are going to be a number of people who are going to see it from the second time, but it's just worth a try, though, isn't it? Like, you just don't know what, at the end of the day, we're just trying to get a conversion out of something.
That's, well, yeah, I mean, that's just you doing your middle of funnel within your top, like just like what I've just said then.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think, and what's the title of this podcast? Like retargeting hacks. Like, I think like you're at a bare minimum, you always want to be retargeting people that, and in more cases than not, is going to be your website. If that, okay, rephrase, if your top of funnel is sending traffic somewhere, then that somewhere, if it's a landing page, if it's a website, should definitely be retargeted at middle of funnel, because you're just going to leave money on the table.
Now, if you're building that audience and it comes down to how much spend you're doing at top of funnel, and it's a testing thing, but off the top of your head, if you were building an audience based on website traffic, what would be the date range? As in 7 days? Would you do 1 day, the minute, the day they hit that audience because they've come through to the website, you retarget them straight away?
Okay, so I think the first question on that is, how long typically does somebody need to be nurtured for them to make a decision on that? So I think that is going to come down to the product, that cycle. I think I kind of like the 30, 60, 90 outside of the 7-day stack, of course. So you want to
so you got your 7-day happening, and then you're thinking the next one is 30.
Yeah. But because the other thing that you need to consider here
is also lead gen,
yeah.
Would you say it's more thoughtful from a lead gen point of view, or?
No, I don't think so. Again, I think it depends on the product and or the service. So from a lead gen perspective, so a retargeting strategy for lead gen would be maybe if you're like, for example, where I wouldn't really expect much to happen would be if I had a top of funnel campaign that was driving traffic to opt into like a free download. Then I think you're kind of either just going to do that there and then, or you're not. A webinar, I think that's slightly different. People that, you know, people may not just opt in straight away. That is a bit more of an ask.
Yeah.
So that may be where I would retarget people to come back and opt into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just comes down to testing, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
But the other thing to really consider when you're doing this is that audience size. So if you might want to go a bit broader to make the audience bigger, then you need to be careful that your frequency is not going up too high if you go too broad.
Yeah. From an ecom point of view, it probably comes down to the product. I mean, I've looked at loads of products lately on websites and I haven't had any retargeting from a variety of different products.
Yeah. I think from an ecom perspective, like, you have to retarget.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what it is, what that window, like what that retention time is for the custom audience, has to come down to testing.
I think a 1 or 2 day from the start is probably a good thing, because you're looking for something, it's in your head. And I would say that if I'm working from myself at the moment, that the only reason I haven't finished purchasing is because day-to-day life is pulling me away from completing it. I'm browsing around. For instance, one of them is a motorbike helmet. Okay, so I'm browsing around, I'm looking at websites, then I'm going to Amazon. Is it on Amazon? Is the price better? Can I get it next day delivery? Blah, blah, blah. What's the returns like? Because there's a process of that. Is that helmet going to fit me? Is it going to feel comfortable? What the returns like on it? All these things. So in a way, it's kind of like I possibly want a 2-dayer, then a 7-dayer, then a 14-dayer. I've probably been looking for about a week now. See what I mean? And I would say that I'm looking, I would say that the company that I probably will buy from will be the one that was retargeting me and reminding me of it. See what I mean? So it's amazing to think that Amazon doesn't do any of this.
How would you do, like, I guess you'd have to like exclude them from each other, because if you set that up, you're going to be your 1-day audience, you're then still going to be in your 7-day audience, and then you're still going to be in your...
Well, you exclude purchases.
Yeah, but you are still going to be in each of those audiences, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't purchase, I mean.
If you don't purchase, but that's what you want, isn't it? So right now, if I went to look at that motorbike helmet on Monday, yes, today I want to receive a retargeting ad. Gets to Sunday and I still haven't purchased, it's another retargeting ad.
Oh, what, with like a different creative and
you can put different I'm not so, but you can even do DPAs though. So like on a DPA, a dynamic product ad, you can actually set up multiple dynamic product ads at different stages, and you could put different text in. I mean, you could even go as silly as like, okay, come on, this is the 5th ad I've shown you now, buy the helmet. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you could have some fun with it, couldn't you? Where people actually, imagine reading that, saying and going and actually like doubting yourself, going, oh my God, yeah, sorry, I should have ordered by now. I'll go on and do it now. So you could set that up to get one every day if you wanted to.
Yeah, and actually that's a good point. Another little hack that you can do, which you can only do if you're using a lifetime budget. I mean, we mainly do daily budgets, don't we? But what a lifetime budget allows you to do is have a schedule. So what you could do is have an ad set on a reach whatever objective, but on a lifetime budget, and have one ad set show on a Monday, one ad set show on a Tuesday, one ad set show on a Wednesday, and then each of those ad sets can have different ads. So then you're so then you can have it. So basically like once a week, it's one type of ad, and then another day, a different type of ad, So that's like another little way that you can like have fun with, just coming up with like different messaging and creatives on different days. And then you don't get that ad fatigue.
So you could go even one step further with that. And I think this comes down to how big the client is and how much traffic they've got. Because if they're getting like 3 orders a week, it's not really going to make a difference. But let's say it's a Shopify, or the back end of these products is seeing if there's anything in the days of the week that people are more likely to purchase. So if they find that on a Sunday is a day when they seem to sell more products, you could start scheduling that you definitely have a retargeting ad on a Sunday, and actually see if it makes your, look at your KPIs and see if it actually goes up. I mean, this is cool. This is taking stuff in depth, but someone who's good at running a business would eventually have all these steps in place, wouldn't they? And that's a great one on the scheduling. I like that, doing it on Mondays and things like that. That's a good one.
Yeah, there's so much you can do, and often I think, you kind of, well, I mean, at the end of the day, like we get really good results with like what the processes and the strategies that we use, but the list is kind of endless. And again, like I get, like you've just said, it does come down to budget, doesn't it? Like if you've got that like bucket of test budget, then sky's your limit type thing.
Yeah, I like that schedule one. I like. I'm already starting to think about who we could do that
How
with.
you can do that, yeah.
But this is, but it's like you said, people could listen to this and go, "Why haven't they done these?" They've got these things, but it comes down to budgets. It comes down to your clients. It comes down to if it's fixed, don't break. If it's not broken, don't fix it. If you're getting, there's some things with some big clients of ours where we're getting leads from, app installs from top of funnel, and it's kind of like, we're getting it at a great price. It's like, why would you bring other things into the funnel? Because if you're then bringing in middle of funnel and bottom funnel and they're not performing as well, then that cost per acquisition is just going to go up overall. Because you
keep it simple.
Your client's going to look at, I give you 2, 3, 10, whatever. Let's say I give you £1,000 a month to spend on Facebook ads, and you're making me using top of funnel for leads, for instance, from your point of view, I'm getting a return of 3,500. The minute we turn around as an agency and go, "Oh, we've got a few ideas for middle of funnel. We want to put £30 at middle of funnel or £20 at middle of funnel," but it's not getting you anything, but it's in a nurturing stage, their cost per acquisition is just going to go up because you've used some of that budget in an area where you're not just going to get conversions out. So it all depends on the conversations you're having with the client, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And that's why I think that where like I've been able to like sneak in the middle of funnel within the top of funnel campaign on CBO without having to then say I need more budget, or I can start that testing process, and then I can have that conversation with the client to say, look, this is when we retarget your warm audience, this is how much cheaper your cost per acquisition is. So if you give us some more money to put in at the top, and then put in at the bottom, that's going to then get your cost down overall. So it's just a good way to like sneak it in and start that testing process without having to say, can I have some more budget for that, please?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to quickly say that we bypassed the fact that we're like live in the Facebook group at the moment.
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
So right on cue with the dogs. So Nick's just muted because the dogs are going crazy, but I just wanted to say hello to you if you're in the Facebook group. So this is our weekly podcast that we put a podcast out every week. Nick and I'm Matt. I kind of head up the lead gen side of our clients, and Nick is more the e-com side. And Nick and James will be also doing a podcast every other week. But what we thought we would also do is, while we are having this conversation and recording this podcast, which usually it would just be between the two of us, we're now going to start streaming it live into the Facebook group. So if you do ever want to join us live and ask us some questions as we go, then you just need to hop over to Let's Run Facebook Ads. If you are watching this on the replay and you have any questions for us or any feedback, then drop us a note. We are at the moment recording or going live in the Facebook group at 11 o'clock every Wednesday, 11 currently GMT, but it will be changing to BST from Sunday.
Yes, this week, isn't it?
Yeah, I was looking at my calendar this morning and I noticed that the clocks changed on this Sunday, which is giving me so much joy because I am not about the short days and dark nights, and I'm all about I can't speak, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a nice day today. This has been quite a we've actually had quite a serious podcast today. Like even the message we had on the group was like, "Oh, I love the podcasts. They're really funny and I love the banter." We've done no banter today.
I feel like that might be when it's you and James, and then when it's me, I I get all serious.
It's usually the intro bit we do the banter, isn't it?
You two just take the piss out of each other, don't you?
Yeah, constantly.
So yeah, I just wanted to say that, and hopefully we'll get the conversation going within the Facebook group. Do you have any other retargeting hacks that you've done that what are your this is bottom of funnel, not middle of funnel, any update on the dynamic product ad stuff and
working for everyone apart from one client?
So it's not an iOS 14 thing then?
No, but the weird thing is that one client was getting 16 times return on investment last year, and I haven't managed to bring that back. Their top of funnel works. It must be down to. It's got to be down to it's an expensive product, so it must be down to the 7-day attribution window. And it just happens that it's an expensive product and people are seeing it and just not, they're either making a decision straight at the top of funnel.
Yeah, I completely take back what I said then about it being an iOS 14 thing, because whilst iOS 14 is across the board, within that, obviously, like you've just said, every client is different. So actually, it will impact clients in different ways. Because if it does take somebody a month to actually buy it, then you're not going to see that data now.
Yes, exactly. But the crazy thing is, would the average order value is 2,500? They're spending that at top of funnel. I mean, we've got literally, I would say out of the 10 different campaigns that we've done at top of funnel and tested, I would say 7 of them, they've all created ROI of at least 6, and 6 or 7 of those 10 are above 10 or 12 ROAS consistently, which is unbelievable. Yet the bottom of funnel doesn't do anything. Isn't it just weird? I just don't really know how to fix it. The client's in a good place. It's they're making loads of money, but
it's almost it now it's back to, I guess, sort of to the drawing board, isn't it? And going back to testing, because I think we spoke about it before where we looked at the time frame and stuff. So I guess that's not done anything by changing that. So interesting.
Very strange.
Who knows?
Well, I guess that's it for today, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you get into the group, we've got a few people coming into the group now, questions and answers being given. I think it's going to be a good place. We're going to go live with these. Matt and I will probably go live with other things in there. I think it would be a good thing to do is maybe go live on setting up a 7-day stack, all sorts of stuff, really. That's what we're here to do. It's just everyone needs to help each other out and basically get better at ads, and we just win in this industry.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, definitely keep an eye out on some new content. We have also we've got the awesome Holly on board now as well, who's going to be helping us with our social content. So she just translates all of the stuff that we have in our head that we don't have time to like put into social stuff. She's awesome at translating that across on our channel. So you'll see on our channels a bit of a revamp on the branding, and also the just how we're putting out content now as well. So that's really exciting. Olivia is saying, "Hi guys, great podcast." Thanks, Olivia. Like she kind of has to say that as she works with us.
That's our Olivia, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's watching the pod? Who's watching live?
Our only live watcher. Woo.
The good thing about live, actually, we can add this onto it. So the good thing about going live on Facebook, not so much to a group, but to the people who have just got their own Facebook pages and they're doing whatever and they're dabbling in this sort of stuff. To grow your own audience, when you go live on Facebook, you might only get 3 people watching live, but as time goes by, if you look a week later, that video would have probably had 50, 60, maybe hundreds of people watching it. Facebook still is really into promoting like live content. And if it sees that those people who are watching live are watching longer, Facebook will then go and find new people who it thinks will be interested in coming. Because this is I don't do this enough anymore, but this is something that you could do, especially, and you'll agree from a lead gen point of view, Matt, for your coaches. If your coaches are going live, then they can test out what content is good on their own engagers. Because if they were to go live once every week or something like this, and then they did that for a few weeks, let's say it'll take quite a while. Let's say they went live every single day. And after 30 days, they could really see the type of content from those lives that resonates with those audiences based on the engagement, because you can go into the stats and see what engaged. And I remember doing it years ago when getting involved in all this, because I wanted to see what sort of topics worked really, really well. We'll see it from the groups, as time goes by and we get more people in the group, we'll see what topics are working well. And we see it from the podcast titles, which ones have had more downloads. Funny enough, our podcast that's had the best is Facebook Basics. That's what's had the most downloads, which kind of shows you the audience that's out there who are looking for this kind of stuff. They are starters in Facebook ads.
Yeah, and like, I don't want to go off too much on this, and people will start saying this, but when we're putting like a lot of our messaging on our new funnel is around people that have taken a course, and you've taken a course, I've taken a course. We all have to start somewhere. There's nothing wrong with taking courses, but until you actually get into Ads Manager and do it, that's when the confidence and the results come.
Look at Faye, who's in our team. She came to us because we get CVs all the time. We pretty much constantly got ads out there looking for, not ads, like CVs, wanting CVs come through. And she was the only person who actually emailed us to say, really want to get into this. So it's like, look, if you made the effort to get into us, then we're going to make the effort to speak to you. And she'd done it I think she'd bought 1 or 2 courses, hadn't she? And when she came on, her knowledge of building ads and stuff was absolutely fine. But where she is now, 8 months later, is different level altogether, because she's in the ads constantly.
Yeah. And when we caught up yesterday to like build the plan out for the Let's Run social funnels and ads, I was like, Faye's actually like the kind of person that we're looking for, right? So I said to her, like, what was your biggest struggle when you took your course? And then it was like, okay, now I need to do ads. And it's actually just understanding what the hell all the data means. Because anyone pretty much can click, it's clicking buttons, isn't it? And like, once you've clicked the buttons, the ad's live. It's like, what comes after that? It's knowing what the heck all of the data means and what to do with it. And that I think is what's kind of like missing from a lot of these courses that are out there.
Well, exactly, like columns.
Like
the columns. Yeah. I've been on consultancy calls this week, and it's using columns in a completely wrong way. Not understand, using unique clicks opposed to all clicks, because as you know, Matt, they can show completely different percentage rates. And it's understanding the difference of these things to actually start seeing the patterns. And anyone can learn this. But because of my background, I've fallen into this, and it's like riding a bike. It's like literally looking at the stats and going, yeah, turn that one off, keep that one on, move that one around. The same as you. We can see these things extremely quickly. Which is a huge power when we do go onto consulting calls, because it's just like, it's the scratching head moment, isn't it? We do it as well in kind of thing. We have to go to our own sort of resources, or luckily we've got each other. Like we've got that new client at the moment that I'm scratching my head about, and you've looked at it and go, well, you need to do that, need to do this. Why don't you look at doing that? But you don't have that sometimes when you're a freelancer, or you're doing your business ads yourself, or you're the marketing person for a business doing the ads. It's hard, isn't it?
Exactly. And like, I personally think that you should always have a decent enough understanding as a business owner before outsourcing ads.
Absolutely. Theo said it on his interview.
Yeah, exactly. So, when you're at that point when you're not quite ready to hand it over completely to somebody, you want to get that knowledge and you want to understand it so you can effectively outsource it. All you really need at that point is, you can build the ad, you know what buttons to click. It's somebody in your back pocket to say, oh God, give me a hand on this. Like, I think I need to do this, but like, am I on the right path? And that is where I think a lot of people struggle who are running ads and don't really have anybody to call on.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, so a little quick question turns into a half an hour podcast as usual, but hopefully providing loads of value to people. As we're doing that, and I'm seeing my little live on Facebook thing at the top, I'm actually wanting to look at how we can maybe find a third-party software that allows this to go to multiple platforms, multiple pages, because I think this only allows us to choose one, but I think YouTube we can go live to as well.
Yeah, you can. There's like StreamYard. There's a couple that you can do that. Yeah. And
that will plug in with Zoom, would it? Okay, we'll need to look into those for the next ones, because that'd be great. Just get it omnipresent. It's called, everyone, being omnipresent. You need to think of that with your ads as well.
Chat through our like plans for the podcast whilst we're live and people are listening. Like,
it's probably going to give them ideas, though, isn't it?
There's no secrets here. Like, you're literally just like watching us build this out.
Completely. But that's what's good about our things. We're honest, aren't we?
Oh yeah, there's no bullshit with us, guys. Absolutely none. And completely. I think that, that's what people like, don't they? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that transparency and just sort of like seeing us like evolve all of this stuff. We're excited about it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Episode 24 done. We'll see you.
See you in the next one, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.